Good morning, Satesman here, small van driver on the CX. It's Saturday, 9:30. Looking a bit rough. I haven't had a shower or shave yet because we had quite a late night last night. Thought I'd get this done. It won't come out at 9:30. Probably come out sometime later today. This is a week in the life last week, and we'll start on fuel prices. My fuel last week, my best fuel, including VAT, was 142. Next week, I've already looked and it's about 4p less. Next week, 4 or 5p less, about 137, 138. So fuel's going down, which is all good. So we started Monday. I had a job booked in Monday the 27th. I had a job booked in from the previous Friday, going from, it said Kettering, it was Burton Latimer, and it was going to Normanton, which is near Wakefield. Yeah, good job. Picked up a pallet, and it was a midi job. Well, I've done a few midi jobs, which my van's classed as, and they normally could fit on a small van, but this one wouldn't have done. It was too long. It fitted on my van fine, actually, no problem at all. But that was good money as well, with a really good shipper. And that job got me to Normanton, and I was on the road 8:15, and I was looking for a second job. And on the way up, a job popped up Normanton to Stoke, and it was car parts. It weren't picking up until 12:30 to 1 o'clock. But I thought, well, Normanton, shall I look? Shall I wait or shall I put a bid on? But I put a bid on, quite a strong bid. I thought I'll put a strong bid on. If I get it, it's worth waiting around. And I did get it. It makes you wonder if I could have put more on. But I'm glad I did. Although I had to add an hour and a half between the jobs, there was only two jobs that come out in that hour and a half from where I was, Normanton or Wakefield, and they weren't where I wanted to go. So I'd done the first job, tipped it off, had a little wait, had a little walk, went out had a walk, and started the second job, which was to Stoke. It was one drop. Normally you get 3 or 4 drops. This was just one drop. Car parts, and I was in Stoke early afternoon, and I thought, well, that was virtually target of the day. Target for the day. And, within a five I was, and I thought, well, that'll do me for the day. If I get somewhere else, it'd be great. If I get somewhere long distance, I'll stay out now. If I get somewhere towards home, if not, I'm going to start trundling home, which was quite a distance. And I took the decision to go down the A50 towards Derby and East Midlands Airport and then down the M1 rather than go through Birmingham. And it worked out well because there was a job there coming when I was on the A50 from Derby to Birmingham, and it was near Birmingham Airport, so it was the right side of Birmingham for me. And I put a quote in, quite a strong quote as well, and got it. And it was picking up and delivering before it picked up about 5:15, and I got it delivered in Birmingham by about 5 to 6. And the place shut at 6, although they were going to wait for me. So that was great. And then I trundled home, and I was home 7 o'clock. So it's a long day, long ass day, but good money. So great start to the week. And I always think if I can start the week well, it's going to be good. Then we come to Tuesday, and I had a job booked in as well from Northampton, and it was an early pickup. I've got to be there at 6 to 6:30 in the morning, going to Tewkesbury, which is in Gloucester. Not a brilliant area. And it said a pallet, one pallet. Could pallet anything, couldn't it? And then I turned up. There was about 20 cardboard boxes on there, and I thought, I may struggle to get them in because the height, it was quite high. So I went to get a tape measure out, and he said, that's all right, we can loose load them. I went, okay. I said, if the pallet goes in, he said, no, they're empty boxes. Oh. They were empty boxes full of crap. I'm like, what? I couldn't quite get my head around it. He said, we have to send these boxes back from their original start point, and they dispose of them. They split the cardboard from the rubbish because they go on site. Engineers take them, they bring them back to us. We have a pallet load and we send it back to the company, and they dispose of them. I'll just get my head around that, but that's what happens. So that's what it did. There was 20 cardboard boxes went on, and Yeah, full of rubbish, full of plastic and polystyrene and bloody crap and shit. Nothing ceases to amaze me in this job, really. So I went to Tewkesbury. And sure enough, when I got to the company, he was expecting them. Yeah, there's two bins. If you put them in front of the bin, I'll split them, flat pack the cardboard and do that and that. I'm like, okay. So I left him, took there, and I went and parked at Morrison's about a mile down the road. And I thought, right, I'm going to get a cup of coffee and see what's happening. Tewkesbury can be really awkward. I always struggle down that way, normally, around Cheltenham, Gloucester, Tewkesbury, but a job popped up, Tewkesbury to Birmingham. I'm thinking, wow. And I was within a mile of it. So I quoted really high because I was the only driver in Tewkesbury. There was a couple of guys in Gloucester and Cheltenham, but they've got to travel. So I quoted quite high and got it. The only thing was, you could pick it up ASAP, but you had to meet an engineer at 11 o'clock in Birmingham. And I was going to get there at 10 o'clock. But I thought, that's no problem. I'll sit and wait. And it was meeting him. He was, again, doing masts. And believe it or not, the pickup in Tewkesbury was from where I dropped it off, where I dropped this cardboard off. So I went back and picked up one bag, and it had some little transformers in, and took it to Birmingham. So I had a really good start. I'm in Birmingham. I've got good money getting to Birmingham. Now I'm looking for a job anywhere, really. I'm pretty flexible. And there was a few jobs popped up, and there was one from Sutton Coldfield, which I wasn't too far away from, about 4 miles, and it was going to Manchester. And I thought, do you know what? I'm still early enough in the day to take that and get to Manchester and hopefully get a job either home or another job. So I quoted quite high on it. And it's funny, another one of the YouTubers was nearby, and I'm surprised. I thought he would go for it because he comes from Manchester area, and I bid quite high. I thought, I'm sure he'll undercut that. And I got it. And I thought, that's strange, I'm getting that. And yeah, so I went and picked it up and got it. And sure enough, he had quoted on it, but he quoted high on it, thinking that, no one would want it. And I said, well, sorry about that, but I got it. It was quite fun. But he got another job anyway. And yeah, it was to a hospital in Manchester. It was a Wythenshawe hospital. And it was easy enough to find and get a delivery. And they were expecting it. There was a hospital transfer of stock of machinery. And I'm in Manchester. I'm in South Manchester, not far from the airport, just sort of around a bit at the bottom of Manchester. And I'm thinking, if I get another job now, I'll be staying out. Yeah, I won't be going home because it's getting on. And I'm too far from home to to drive home. So I sat there and I waited quite a bit. And I'm thinking, well, I'll take any job now and I'll stay out. And then a job popped up from Widnes, which weren't too far away from where I was. And it was going to London. And it was delivery in London 8 o'clock the following morning, which suited me right down to the ground. I put a competitive quote in. It was North London. I looked where it was, and it was Northwest London. So it weren't in the inner bit of London. So I put a competitive quote in. I think it was about 80 pence, 78 to 80 pence loaded. And I thought, you know what, let's go see if I get it. And I did get it. I phoned up and he said, yep. He says, he's got great feedback. He says, and it's a pallet. He says, and it's going to a rail depot. So it was brilliant. Made my day, that did, because I went and picked it up. It took a while because the address was different on the pallet to where I was going, but it was an invoice address and I was going to where a depot was. So that was done. We're all good. And off we went we didn't go to London, we went home. And I got home at 7 o'clock at night, so it was a long day. And went to bed, and I had to get up next morning early because although it was due at 8:30 in London, I've only got 64 miles to go. It takes a long while. I set off at 6, expecting I would have a break at the bottom of the motorway, and then I go in. Nah, traffic was horrendous. And I drove solidly for 2.5 hours. It took me 2.5 hours to get there. And I got there smack on 8:30 when I should. They took the pallet off. A bit of faffing around at rail depots. There always is, trying to find a forklift driver, the goods in, how they accept it and blah blah, and yeah, it's a lot of security, but all good. And my favourite purchase spot in North London, the Ace Cafe, because I'm a biker, is about a mile away. So just put the Ace Cafe sat nav in, and I went and perched there. And like it has been the last few videos I've put on here, when you're in London, you could sit and wait for ages. And I did. I'll tell you what I waited for. I waited for a sausage. The length of time was a sausage sandwich and 2 mugs of tea. And it was about 2.5 hours. I had a good chat with them in the Ace Cafe while I was there, so it wasn't too shabby. And I managed to get a job. I quoted on, I believe I told one of the lads, 22 jobs. And I wouldn't go no cheaper than the rate I was going. And I didn't get any. Yeah. And I was quoting 70 pence, between 70 pence if it was a longer distance job, and 85, 95p if it was a shorter job. Nothing. Until there was a job on there, and it was from Charing Cross Hospital, which wasn't too far from where I was, near Hammersmith. Just go down the A40, and it was going to Northampton. I knew exactly what it was. It was going to the labs, and it was going to be hospital samples, and it was from a hospital that I'd been to the previous Friday. So I knew how to get to it and also where to park. So I quoted that. Loaded miles, I quoted that quite keenly, and didn't think I was going to get it. And then I got a phone call saying, "Can you do that? What time can you get there?" And I said, "Yep, this time." And that was good. So that got me home. Yeah. Because I decided when I got to Northampton, I'm 2 miles from home. I'm literally just going to drive home. I'm going to have an early finish. I've done 2 long days, Monday, Tuesday, and I was done at 2 o'clock. Finished. So happy days, happy days. A nice early finish. I did get a few jobs done in the afternoon. That's it. If you get a bit of spare time, you can get things done. Like going to buy stamps, because I'm still getting shippers who insist on you post stuff. So a few odd jobs and a few bits of admin. Then I booked a job as well for Thursday from Wellingborough, which is not far from me. It's about 8 miles. And it was going to 2 drops, Ascot and Reading. And it was a pickup. Again, it was an early pickup. It was a 7 a.m. pickup, which is good. It gets you started. And it's getting the end of March, which is the end of the financial year. And there is more jobs. There is more jobs about. So I picked the job up. I was there before 7. I got it loaded by 7. It was 2 big boxes. They were quite big. They were about 30 kilos each. And they was about 1.5 meters long by about just below the roof of the van. They only just fitted in, which is okay. And one to each, which got delivered. And it was no hassle either. It flowed. And got pretty good money for that. Not too bad. Probably could have got more, to be honest. Because it was could have been a pain in the arse, because it's a big company I was collecting from, and hospital deliveries, although they were private hospitals. But it was okay. And then I waited in Reading. My favourite spot is a Tesco's in Reading. It's, I can't tell you what the name is. It's a big superstore right in the middle. And you can park there for 2-3 hours. 3 hours you can park there for. And I waited for a job. And again, lots of jobs coming out. But going cheap. And I did get one in the end. I think I got one in the end because I was the only small van left in the Reading area. And I quoted on a job, and it was from Maidenhead to Woodford House, which is near Daventry, Northamptonshire. Again, near home. I quoted a good price on it. It was a village between Reading and Maidenhead. I can't tell you the name of the village because I can't remember. But it was picking a pallet up and going to Woodford House. And I got it. And I thought, ooh, and this was getting me a little bit close to home again. So was it going to be a shorter day? I thought, if it is. I'm not going to, once I'm near Northampton, I'm not going to take a job 40 mile away, because whatever I get for it, I'm going to travel home anyway. So that would probably be it. So yeah, delivered that to Woodford House. It was picking a pallet up. It was a light pallet. We picked it up, didn't bother with the forklift, and put it on, ambled it on. It was about 60 kilos. So weren't too bad. Delivered it in Woodford House, parked up, had my lunch, well, late lunch, and I thought I wouldn't get much else. I'm going to drive home. And there was a job on there popped up from Banbury, which is not far from where I was. About 10 miles, 11 miles, and it was going to Northampton. I thought, great. But it was deliver 9 o'clock Friday morning. I thought, well, that's okay. And it was in my postcode where I live. I thought, well, it ain't far from where I live. So I put a bid on it, good bid, strong bid, and got a phone call straight away. Can you pick this up? I said, yeah, I'll be there in about half an hour. I said, yeah, it's fine. It's just one small box. And I thought, that's handy because I ain't delivered it until Friday. So I can put that in the front with me or put that right at the bulkhead. And if another job comes up, I can do that because this ain't going to be due till tomorrow. But I thought, you know what? I'll drive to Northampton. If there's a local job, Northampton, I'll bid for it. If not, that's it. And it didn't happen. There was nothing else. But I was home again. I had another early finish. I was home by 4:45. In fact, less than that. It was, by the time I faffed around, I was done 3:30, 4:45ish. And the delivery address for this box for the Friday morning was a half a mile from where I live. It was to a radio mast and it was to meet an engineer. So even better, really. But what it did do, it stopped me bidding on any work for Friday morning early because I got to deliver this box. But that's the way it is, isn't it? So Friday, I wasn't going to bid on anything. I did look at the feed and Friday morning when I got up, and there was a job on there, pick up between 9 and 11 in the morning, going to Abingdon. And it was from roughly the same postcode area as where I was dropping this box off. And it wasn't a equate bid. You had to phone, so I did phone straight away, and I explained that I was delivering at 9 o'clock in the area, and I was there, and I quoted £1 a mile, and he sent me the job. It was a midi van job. So I dropped this. I found the engineer. He was there, brilliant, and went straight on to the next job. So Friday started good, and it was a midi van job because it was a sign. It was a company that makes signs for all sorts. This was for a tire garage in Abingdon, and the sign was 1.8 meters. Now that fits in my van, midi van. It wouldn't have fitted in my other van, so all good. So I picked the sign up after I dropped the box off and dropped it in Abingdon, and the feed was popping. It was pinging. I made a decision Friday. I was going to get home Friday night to stay localish. I didn't really want to travel more than 50 miles from where I lived or 60 mile. So I had to be a bit patient. There was jobs. There was a job to Southampton and there was a job to Bristol, but I didn't want to be that far away from home. And then a job popped up from Wantage, which was about 10 miles from where I was. And it was delivering to, it said Whitney, but it was actually the back of Blenheim Palace. It was an industrial estate, little industrial business park. So it was minimum charge, and it was picking up 3 jiffy bags, taking them to a company on this business park. Absolutely nice. Trouble is that it's all on A and B roads, so it's a bit wiggly, but no problem. Once we've done that, I was thinking I'm in an area now that's not brilliant. And luckily there was a job from Chipping Norton, which again was only 9 miles from where I was. And it was going to, it said Toaster. It was actually Silverstone Village. And I quoted on it, but I quoted on it really strongly. And there was 2 or 3 shippers putting it on there. So it was obviously looking for a cheap price, but I quoted the same price. I looked who was nearby. There wasn't a driver in Chipping Norton, obviously. There wasn't a driver anywhere near close enough than me. And I thought, hold fire because it's worth this. If they want this job doing, they're either going to pay me or they're going to be struggling. They're not going to get it done. They reposted it, all 3 of them. I still put the same price down on all 3. And I got a phone call from one of them. And I've done work for him before. And he said, yeah, fair enough. He said, we need it covering. He says, can you go and pick it up? I went, yep. And it was a small jiffy bag like that. Going to a little business in Silverstone Village, which got me nearer home. And I thought, well, that'll be it for the day, the week. And that sort of made it up, really. But it weren't because there was another job. I parked up at Toaster Services, which everyone knows on the A43. It's a big BP garage with a McDonald's. And I parked at McDonald's, got a coffee, and I thought, I'll have a look for Monday. But I didn't have time to because the job popped up from Toaster. I was in Toaster, the only driver in Toaster. Going to, I thought it's going to be a long distance. I don't want one, but it wasn't. It said Leamington Spa, and I thought, you know what? And I quoted on it, and I quoted again high, well over a pound a mile, and I got a phone call straight away, and it was taken off his chair back. It wasn't even Leamington Spa; it was Southam, so it was this side, Northampton side, just outside Southam. There's a famous polo club. I can't think of the name of it. Just the other side of Southam on the 425, and it wasn't in there, but it was near there. There was a company in there, and I took that job and picked it up from a residential address in just outside Toaster and did that. So that made my week complete. That was me done. And drove home from there, and it was 32 miles. So you take that on a Friday. And I was done. I was home by 4:15. I did 4 jobs, plus the drop in the one off in the morning. 4 short jobs. So pence per mile was good Friday. Really good. So that was my week. I drove home and I pulled on to where we are on the holiday park. And as I pulled on, a job popped up on my feed. There was a job, I got my feed set, and there was a job popped up for Monday. Pick up Milton Keynes, where I picked up before. I knew the address, to Burnley and Liverpool. And so it's a long trip, and I quoted on it quite keenly. I quoted good money, including getting to Milton Keynes, which takes me about 20 minutes. And he phoned it through. So Friday ended up being a really good day. Spoilt it a bit when I got home because I had to do shopping with a wife. But hey, that's what you do. Anyway, so that's Friday done. So glad to get a shower. Once I've done this, going to get a shower and shave and get moving. So my week was done. I did 1,427 miles. I did, my duty time was just under 50 hours, 49 and a quarter hours. I did that, 32 hours driving, and my figure was 1,154.40 with VAT. I give 9% of that, and next week it's 10% because it's the start of the tax year. But 9% this week, they had £103 of that, so I ended up with £1,050, which works out at 82 pence, 82 pence every mile. So not too bad. Is it starting to pick up? Or was it just because it's the end of the financial year and people are trying to get all the work out? This is what a lot of the YouTubers will probably tell you this as well. That's what we think it is. It's Friday. They've got to get as much out they could to get it in that financial year. Let's hope it's not. Let's hope that the work continues next week. I've got a 4-day week next week because it's Good Friday, and I don't work Good Friday. I definitely ain't working this Good Friday because we're doing a short weekend hop over to Bruges. There's 4 of us going. Me, 2 couples going our big L Grand. So we're going over to Bruges Friday and coming back Sunday night. So a little bit of a jolly. So next week's going to be 4 days. So it's a matter of earning what we can in the 4 days. Anyway, I hope you're all doing well. Apparently I've got 799 subscribers. So one more, 800. That'd be absolutely amazing. I can't believe there's 800 people listening to this drivel. But hey, you do. And if you ask any questions, as you can see, I try and answer them as best I can. I do what I do. I don't edit videos. I don't do all this. I'd like to be able to do it, but A, I ain't got time, and B, I don't think I've got the brain. I'm too old to be this technical stuff. But again, hope you're all doing all right. Have a really good weekend. I say it's only Saturday morning. Have a rest of the weekend, and hopefully this video will go out sometime today. We'll speak next week.